I'm Professor Rad, and this is Precalc video 226, writing as a single logarithm. In this video, we'll be using some of the properties that we've been discussing in the last video to take multiple logarithms and condense them into one. So for our purposes, we'll primarily be using properties 6 through 9 to accomplish that. So let's look at an example. So for this example, we're going to write each expression as a single logarithm. So right now we have in part A, the natural log of 5 over the natural log of 7. Now, the natural log is kind of like a function like f of x. If you have f of 5 over f of 7, that's not the same as like 5/7, and it's not the same necessarily as f of 5/7. So we want to be thinking of these as in terms of functions. So when I look at my properties, there are two that involve fractions. So we have log base a of m over n, and then we also have this one here where we have log of m over log of a. In deciding which of these two I'm going to be using, I want to see where that fraction occurs. Does it happen inside the logarithm, or are the logarithms on the outside or like part of the fraction? So in this case, we look a lot more like this one for our change of base formula. So we're going to take this idea and go backwards into a single log. So here, notice that in this expression, whatever I'm taking the log of in the denominator becomes the base of my logarithm. So because I have natural log of 7 in the denominator, we're going to have log base 7. And then here, what the argument was in the numerator is the argument of the logarithm. So our argument of this log is 5. So the natural log of 5 over the natural log of 7 is the same as log base 7 of 5. Now let's take a look at part D. In part D, we are subtracting the natural log of 5 minus the natural log of 7. In order to combine these into a single logarithm, we have to think about how we can change that subtraction so that it's just like one single log. So similarly, if you have f of 5 and you're subtracting f of 7, that doesn't mean you have the same thing as f of 5 minus 7. So our property for logarithms that we'll use here is number 8, because we're subtracting two logarithms and we want to combine them into one. So property 8 says if you're subtracting two logarithms, you can combine them into one, so long as they have the same base, which we do, they're both natural log. And then we just form the fraction. So it's the first one is the numerator and the second one is the denominator. So this is going to be the natural log, 5 is the numerator, and 7 is the denominator. So for part B here, we have the natural log of 5/7. So again, I want to impress upon you that the expressions in A and B are different. So the natural log of 5/7 is not the same thing as the natural log of 5 over the natural log of 7. Okay, these are different expressions. For our third one here, we're going to be using a combination of properties 6 and 7. So I know that I'm going to use property number 6 because I noticed that both of my logarithmic statements have a coefficient. So when you go to combine multiple logarithms into one, look at your coefficients first. If you have a coefficient that's, like not 1, then you're going to need to apply property 6. So right now we have something that looks like this, and we need it to look like that, like the other side. So you can take that coefficient and turn it into an exponent on the inside. So that's what I'm going to do to begin. So I'm going to rewrite this as log of 81 to the 3/4 power plus log 2 squared. Now remember that the 3/4 power means you could find the 4th root of 81. Since 81 is a perfect fourth, let's do that. So the 4th root of 81 is 3, and then 3 cubed is 27. So this will simplify to log of 27. And then 2 squared is a lot easier, that's just 4. So right now we're in some good shape here because we have gotten rid of those coefficients in front of the logarithms. And now we can apply our logarithmic properties to combine these into one. So since we're adding two logarithms together, I'm going to use the property here that says if you add two logarithms with the same base, we do have the same base here, then that's the same as multiplying the arguments on the inside. So that means in order to combine these two, I'm going to get log of 27 times 4. So now I just need to multiply these two numbers together. So that's going to be log of, let's see, 4 times 7 is 28, 108. There we go. All right, so that's going to be it for this video. Just taking some logarithms that are far apart and bringing them in together, applying our properties. In the next video, we're going to be going the opposite direction. So we're going to take essentially what were our answers here, and then splitting them up into what these problems initially started as. So looking forward to seeing you in that video. In the meantime, I hope you have a fantastic day. And yeah, I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.